Yo, what is up, everybody? It's been a minute, hasn't it? We got the grand finals here for the Sweat League featuring InstinctCK versus Femboys, both from Group A. We did have to delay this about a week. It was hard to find scheduling and everything for these teams. But we finally got it taken care of, so these teams have played each other quite extensive in Group A, their first series. They had subs for, and I believe Femboys took that series. But then in the tiebreaker, which is the only game where these both were at full strength, Instinct ended up taking it on a pretty impressive performance by Don Don on Braum. So overall, I expect another 5-game banger. Femboys went to 5 games against Vancouver Impact Challengers. Instinct 3-0'd coin flip in the semifinals. So this is going to be one for the ages, I expect. We haven't had the most competitive finals in the last couple splits, but I expect that will change heavily in this grand finals here. So this will be a fearless best of 5 between these two teams. So let's see what we got here. So getting ourselves caught up a little bit on the draft. Instinct taking the Corky, which is a flex pick / deny. I know Mac for Femboys has played Corky, I think, once or twice. Femboys giving the Zinzal Varus, Instinct responding. Wukong Orin. Femboys then taking Gwen as well. Gwen most likely probably going to be a top lane pick, as she's really good into super tanks like the Orin that's showing here. So Arctic versus Kyle Kittenhouse going to be a pretty good matchup between these two top laners. But honestly, I'm looking at mid lane. Good Boy has been one of the top mid laners in the league the last couple splits, but Monk Mentality just has this kind of solo queue-esque playstyle where he's very aggressive. He loves these picks like Akali, Syndra, LeBlanc, as you've seen Ban, Aurora taken away. So a lot of picks that Monk Mentality has been super aggressive on. He's the only one we've seen pull out stuff like the Diana mid as well, where he can just get really aggressive. So we do see Femboy's taking away some of Good Boy's pool here. He's got the Talia and the Orianna taken away here. And Instinct targeting Ashes here, which Ashes is our only player that is played Sweat League this split, and also now playing Rec League with Happy Jellyfish G League team. So good on a Rec League player to make it into the grand finals here, as he's also been pretty solid, him and Mac in the bot lane. Typically they're they go very even, very conservative in lane, but the last couple series they've had some pop-off games here that's been pretty impressive. So see the Karma coming out, so leaving Monk Mentality here with a counter pick. He still has some stuff up, like the Akali is probably the one big one, as he's always threatening on that pick. Good Boy, though, bringing out Hui. I think Hui can be punished quite heavily in Game 1, Game 2's of Fearless. There's still a lot of things out there that can handle him quite well. Stuff like Syndra. Mel is not a terrible answer into him. Other long-range artillery picks, Xerath, Ziggs, Vel'Koz are not bad either. So let's see what Monk wants to take here. Oh, And there is one of the ones we were talking about here, Zareth coming out for Monk Mentality. Another just random pick that we don't see too often. I know Rurika played it, albeit in a loss, but he was not afraid to pull it out. So this is our, I think, second Zareth showing in this finals, and Zareth is a really, really solid answer in the Hui. So we'll see what happens here in this laning phase. But
I'd rather be home anyway.
So let's see, don't have too many people in here just quite yet. It is a little early on a Thursday, but also most of the Sweat League has kind of just moved on to other games and stuff like that in the off season. So overall here, I do favor, in my opinion, a little bit Instinct's comp, just because of the orange here is a dedicated frontliner. The Rel is solid engage, and it does provide a little bit of tankiness, but overall, like, is a good deterrent for the divers like Mbessa, like Xin Zhao here. And I also think there's not really much helping Mbessa or Xin Zhao. Like, Karma to me is an enchanter, but is not to the degree of like a Lulu, Emilio, even like I would put her in a weird niche of like Renata as well, where it's an enchanter but doesn't really have. It's kind of more of a generalized enchanter instead of being, shields and heals. Like Soraka's better in the healing game. Emilio's better. Lulu's better in the shielding game. Like, Karma just kind of does a little bit of everything. So if she's the only enchanter in a squad, then I feel like she doesn't do enough to play that dedicated enchanter role. But she does bring quite a bit of poke and damage early, and then scales a little bit better into the utility items. But if Instinct's team comp gets going and gets moving, Wukong Hui is a pretty solid duo here. Wukong's disruption make it really hard for team comps to get on top of stuff like Hui Corki. And also Hui has that extra added bonus of like being not pure artillery mage, but can dip into that style a little bit. So overall, I like a little more of the balance along Instinct's comp here. If Femboys does get rolling, I don't see too much stopping them. Though Zareth in a side lane does kind of feel bad, and also we'll see what keystones Zareth wants to take. We've seen Marika take the Dark Harvest into matchups where he can proc it quite a bit more, and also it works out really well against like squishier supports. I would expect Monk Mentality to bring just Arcane Comment and try to poke quite heavily in this laning phase and see if he can't put Good Boy behind. That is one thing I will say about Good Boys. He's just like the most consistent player I think we've had in the league in quite a while. Like, even in losing matchups, he always finds a way to just stay even, not not have any costly roams, or he's just really, really solid overall. Always feels like he makes good, solid decisions and moves over, but we'll see what ends up happening here. So I, in my rush, forgot to tweak this, so my apologies. We are going to get started in the game here. Alright, music is paused. Let's pull up our YouTube comments. We are ready to go. Knock on wood. Riot Spectator was improves this patch. So, Monk, 300k on Xerath. Okay, so the guy plays some Xerath. First strike on the Xerath, so definitely looking to poke quite a bit here in lane, get a little bit of extra income from that rune. Rune's also pretty good in the late game damage. So I think he wants to open up with ults after Mbessa and Zhao kind of dive in. And here we go, everybody. Got our game 1 of grand finals here for the LOL Sweat League. Get rid of the timing controls here. Alrighty. We got InstinctCK, #1 seed from Group A on the blue side, and Femboys, the #2 seed from Group A on the red side here. Okay. Ballsy little just start here against Monk. Instinct just posturing heavily.
Minions have spawned.
Don wanting to come in the lane, dismounted here. Empowered Q coming out from Ashes here, getting a little bit of damage. Don dismounting to get the shield there on the trade. Good boy taking some poke, but exchanging it back with Monk here. Monk getting hit with a passive proc here. So the passive has a deceiving amount of damage early here for Hui. Kyle getting level 2, already getting, I believe that's his 3rd grass proc here, so empowered ult coming out as well from Ashes, so. Hui does get a little bit of an advantage early, but Zera for sure, once he gets some points, some levels, and gets a back or two in him, he starts to return fire, and it pokes really much better. So. There's a little bit of poke back here from Monk. He is running low on mana. Zera's passive, though, will come into play as he takes care of some minions. Nice poke again, coming out of Good Boy here. A little bit of trading in the top lane. Arctic fighting Kyle, Kid, and House. Exchanging some grass procs here. Avalon is here on this top side, so we might see our first gank here in the finals. Kyle does not have any ward coverage here, but the wave was coming at him, so Monk desperately going to have to back here. He took an insane amount of poke from Good Boy. Inferno, though, posturing in the mid lane. He might. Okay, so he is on. Okay, he was on a ward there, so nice stop coming out here. Monk TPing back. He's got a Sapphire Crystal and Amp Tome, so about halfway done to his lost chapter. Arctic, though, brawling with Kyle up top here. Good Boy coming back to lane with upgraded Boots of Lucidity here, so valuing the movement speed in this the poke fest lane between Hui Zera. So Good Boy, I think, has a lot better back overall here. CS-wise, not too much of a difference, just a touch of a CS lead here in the mid lane, but overall nothing terrible. Femboys, looks like they're starting up this first Drake here, which is a Hextech Drake. Solid Drake for both teams. I think honestly it's like one of the better first Drakes to have. just because of the nature of the attack speed and ability haste. Like, it's just something everybody wants. Avalon, though, kind of pushing Inferno off here. Don Don creating space on this bot lane. Good Boy throwing out the EW here. Inferno getting tagged from this whale, getting all in here. Trying to put as much damage as he can. Good Boy gets stunned up, but that is first blood going over to Good Boy here. Oh, Monk popping the Xerath ult to force Good Boy back here. So he's going to end up keeping pressure on mid lane. Good Boy's TP is not up yet. Still has flash. Don Don getting all in here from Mac and Ashes. Eclipse creating a little bit of space, but both of them are going to... Oh, they might just end up staying here. Arctic stopping Kyle's back here. Level 6 hit early by Mac. But, oh, nice flash Q coming out. And Ash and Don Don and Eclipse end up taking one onto Ashes here. Ashes went around the corner trying to stop their backs and keep pressure, but overall did not. Arctic left up here fighting Kyle, but here comes Inferno. Arctic whiffs the ult, goes 0 for 2 on hitting the champions there. They end up getting one back on the Kyle here, so 2 for 1. About 100 gold difference. Avo invading bot site here. I think actually Ashes got that Gromp, so good take there. Good Boy scouting off that Femboys is wanting to do. Void Grubs here. Avo, though, coming straight up. Monk flashing away here. Ashes shielding and healing, but overall still not enough. Ashes does get the snare onto Avo. Oh, nice dive coming out of Kyle as he's going onto the back line. Max coming up from the river here. And Kyle trying to end up making it 1 for 1. Good Boy does snipe Ashes here, so that's a 1 for 2. And what turned out to be a pick on the Monk ends up still going decent for Femboys. So, Instinct with the return kill on the Good Boy here ends up being now 4 to 2. They're up about 800 gold overall. Mac ends up burning the ult to try and pick off Good Boy here, but is unsuccessful. Does stop his back, but he does have TP, so... We see the Luden's Companion getting built by both mid laners, so no Blackfire Torch coming out of Hwei, which I think is absolutely correct here. Kyle and Arctic just up here trading some grass stacks. Arctic looks like he's getting the all-in here on the Kyle here. Procs the passive. Avo's coming up river as well. Inferno is eventually here. Kyle delaying Avo. Because Shield comes up here. It looks like the junglers are going to just get 1 for 1 and trade the top laners. Though Avo's trying to all-in Inferno with Good Boy coming up. Don Don's also up here as well. And Inferno with the Xin Zhao ult blocking all the damage gets one back here, so it does end up becoming an even 2 for 2 overall. Well played by Inferno. Monk does end up stopping Good Boy's back here. Kyle does have ult up and makes the run towards Good Boy. Nice flash sweep overall. But here comes the rest of Instinct here. They threw so much resources at Good Boy. Inferno trying to get out. Kyle is doing the Mbessa dance, getting out, but end up burned over by Arctic. Eclipse and Don running onto Ashes here as he went over to try and help Inferno get out of it. So a 1 for 2 started off by Femboys engaging, but Instinct ends up showing up just in the nick of time. Now this becomes the second dragon, which is an Infernal Drake. Going over to the side of Instinct there. So, still a little less than about 1,000 gold lead between these two teams. So still real no clear-cut advantage taken yet. Though I will say Femboys has definitely been the aggressor. And it seems like Instincts always has an answer for that. Oh, Ash is trying to stop backs here. It ends up doing it. Don flashes and ignites over to give a kill over to Eclipse. His second one of the game. Alright, now here's Mac. Kind of chain trying to stop their backs here. I wouldn't say chain feeding because it's his first death. I don't know where I was going with that one. But overall, the bot lane trying to stop backs, but getting taken out for that. But it does give Kyle a few seconds to get at least 2 plates before plates fall. But now Kyle may actually take this whole turret here. Kyle does get the first turret here. So first turret taken by Femboys. Combat feats of strength taken by InstinctCK here. So it's going to come down to neutral objectives. So, for neutral objectives, Instinct does have 2. 1 notch out of 3 over for the side of Femboys here. So, Dragon and Rift Herald are in contention. Rift Herald's up right now, which it looks like Avalon is going to start up already. So this will end up being feats of strength. But we do see Kyle going after Eclipse here. Eclipse dodging the Xerath ults. It ends up getting taken out by Kyle here. Inferno still in the fight. Ends up getting taken out by Good Boy. So double kill going over the Good Boy. He's 4-1-4 now. Arctic trying to get chopped down here by Mac. And that is feats of strength with the Rift Herald being taken, going over to Instinct here. So, this is the biggest lead we've had all game at about 1,000 gold. Plus, you gotta understand a little bit of free stats coming out of the upgraded boots. So, you're looking at probably about a 1,200 gold lead overall. Don, though, with the root happening, ends up going in. Ashes takes a little bit of poke damage here from Eclipse. Oh, that's unfortunate. Good Boy just ends up blocking and dodging everything, and now Inferno's kind of left here open. Kyle Kittenhouse getting jumped on here and bounced housed around. And that's a double kill going over to Avalon. Ashes having to flash away here. Eclipse taking the turret bot lane. Hex Flash coming out, threatening for Don Don. And Mac ends up ulting the Wukong clone as well here, so. And while they have all this pressure mid lane, they're jumping on this third Drake here. So see, Inferno trying to do his best, dodges the fear, does end up getting the red carpet underneath him from Good Boy. Good Boy ends up ulting out, and Monk ends up getting jumped on by Don Don. Mac trying to return fire, but he's Lethality Varus, so he doesn't do much in the way of DPS. Arctic going very, very deep here. Ends up getting a touch of a shield from Good Boy and survives the turret dive here. Rift Herald does end up falling. So now this game's starting to break wide open as Instinct's now got roughly a 5,500 gold lead. Kyle start trying to catch Good Boy out on the ult here, but ends up missing it. No public execution for Kyle there. Krieger, what's up, bro? I see you over there now. I wonder what the discussion was for Matt going lethality here. 'Cause I feel like Wukong passive gives him armor and tank stats, I believe. And then you have a physical top side of the map as well. I feel like Mac is never going to have a chance to take out Arctic here. But Kyle trying to split here ends up getting taken out here by the top side. Here's Avalon and Arctic. Jump on Kyle. Now, one thing that we haven't even really touched on was Ornn. Now that he's level 13, he's already upgraded one of his items. And as he gets more levels, he's going to have more things to upgrade here for the rest of his team. So that's more combat stats for InstinctCK here. Flash coming out of Kyle here. And a shutdown going over to Monk here. There's a really nice pickup here in the side lane for Kyle and Monk mentality on Femboys. And that's a really big influx of gold. Inferno trying to jump on Don Don here. He does have the Black Cleaver. Slow coming out of Ashes here. Don Don getting jumped on here and overall taken out by Inferno here. Inferno did have to flash the wall. But that's another shutdown going over. So 2 shutdowns going over and an objective bounty for Femboys. So even though they lost the Otacon here, they made up about 2.2k gold with just the 2 shutdowns and the objective bounty taken from the turret. So overall, not a terrible trade. You see, second item getting done by Mac here. Kyle already on to probably 2.5 after this back. Inferno does upgrade the boots and has a tunneler here, so he's going a little more on the tankier, bruisery side of the builds. Let's see, Monk ends up getting a needlessly large rod on his last back for that shutdown. Let's see what we got here. I mean, the poke comp for drafted here by Femboys is online, though they can't really walk in too blindly. Inferno and Kyle kind of spearheading this comp as far as how they're walking in. Engage coming out here on the Kyle. Redemption comes down. Quay ult ends up hitting Ashes here. Kyle diving into the back line, but unfortunately not being able to take anybody out. Inferno trying to do the best he can. Double kill going over to Eclipse. Avalon ends up chasing Mac, and Monk ends up falling as his front line just ended up ceased to existing there. And now we have split objectives get taken here as Eclipse, Don, and Arctic trying to go after this tier 3 mid, as Good Boy and Avalon try to end up getting this soul here, which it looks like they're both going to succeed. Excuse me. That's what I kind of feared when we were talking about the draft, of them not having like some type of dedicated tank here, that they weren't gonna, their front line wasn't gonna be able to hold long enough. Good Boy ends up missing the ult. Kyle ends up going in, chunking Good Boy here. Monk ends up trying to lay down some cover fire, but overall not successful. Inferno trying to spearhead that 3v3 using his ult, but unsuccessfully could not get on top of Eclipse here. Knight's Vow coming out for Eclipse along with the Locket, so Eclipse is going to be very tanky if they ever get on top of him. Redemption first item for Ashes. I don't think it's had the greatest amount of value. So, let's see, both mid laners on virtually the same item, same build. Kyle ends up getting CC'd under the turret here by Arctic. Nice buffer by Kyle here during the knockup. But he still is going to fall to Arctic here. He did everything he could here, buffered the Ornn ult knockup with public execution. Oh, but they knew Inferno was here. Now they're jumping onto him, and Eclipse gets another one. Avo still going forward here. Eclipse joins him, gets the double kill here. Well, the two backliners are left here in Mac and Monk. That's Baron. Going over here to the side of Instinct as they find themselves up just a little over 9,000 gold here in this game one. See Orange starting to build some MR. He's at level 16, so he's already upgraded a few items. Trinity Force upgraded. I believe he has another upgrade available. He has 2 upgrades available here, so alright, really smart mid-maxing here from Instinct, waiting for Good Boy to get his death cap, as that is one of the best items to upgrade for when it comes to Ornn passive. I mean, look at this, 180 AP, and it increases your total ability power by 30%, so another 156 AP. This item alone is giving roughly about 200 to 220 AP just by itself. Kyle all-inning Good Boy here. Good Boy drops the ult to try and slow him down, but Avo's here to help him. Monk does snipe the blue buff away here. Inferno is here, seeing that two of them were up top. Blast Cone just kind of makes this fight really chaotic here. Mac trying to do his best to get through Arctic, but he is a beefy Ornn. Inferno pulling the trigger now again on Don Don. Oh, big engage here by Don Don. Flash is getting used by Monk and Mac. And this poke comp is starting to fall apart here, as there's nothing getting through Don Don and Arctic right now. Yeah, the item right now is given 336, but the 180 and then the 30% on top of that, like it just straight up is what I was referring to on the item. But yes, we're both correct in the context. So, I will see what Femboys can do here. Deathcap completed by Monk. Kyle still chugging away at his 3rd item. Ornn on 3 items. Everybody for Instinct basically on 3 items outside of Don Don. Unless you count the support item. Moonstone getting completed by Ashes here. Avalon going forward. Don Don though has a big streak. Oh, Good Boy hits Monk with the ult here. Don Don jiving on the back line. Inferno trying to do what he can, but overall is unsuccessful. Ashes also gets taken out here. And this is going to be the game getting sealed up with a triple kill for Good Boy here. Is on this way, he ends up going 8-2 and 17. But I think the biggest thing for me was Don Don and a lot of his engages versus poke comp here. 3-1, 23 assists, 30-minute games. Pretty impressive overall. So, game 1 going over to the side of InstinctCK. Yeah, hi YouTube. Alright, Soup. Instinct strikes first here in this best of 5 finals for Sweat League. Let's go take a look at the graphs for that game. As I know, it was fairly back and forth up until about the mid-game. So, yeah, it was a pretty decent game. Wasn't too out of reach here. 1,000 gold at 17 minutes. And it felt like everything started to go Instinct's way here. we see the big dragon fight coming up, and then it just snowballed from there. So overall, really, really solid game. Hui just again doing so much damage. Good boy, just definitely can pilot that champion at a really, really great level. So let's move over to the draft. You ask him not to invite until the game over. We heard the ding. Yeah, I will do my best, but ultimately it's unfortunate. But yeah, maybe there's a way. Hmm. Eh, I'll look into it in between next game. Here. Yeah, I do got a little bit of housekeeping to do on the stream overall. Um, I do plan on putting team nameplates up and series score during the main game here. I do plan on adding that. I'll probably do that in the 4th of July break. And see if then maybe I can mute the client, so even if I do get the notification, it doesn't populate through the stream here. So yeah, there's some housekeeping stuff I gotta do here. It's just been super busy, not only just with life, but with the rec league that'll be starting tonight as well. So I'm planning on doing what I can to make this a better viewing experience. I was specking out a new PC with a 4K capture card just to make the quality better as well. So, yeah, so some stuff we can do here. But all right, looking at the draft here, the draft is pretty streamlined. We do see the same bands coming out of Femboys. Instinct, I believe, added Zyra to the ban as well. Uh, so we do see Lucian taken, Femboys respond with Aphelios Lulu, Instinct goes Nami Jarvan, and then kind of what we talked about in the first draft, Monk bringing out the Akali. This guy's not only just absolutely cracked at this champion, but he doesn't care what he plays it into. He will find a way to just make it work and still pop off. If he doesn't get a lead in laning phase, he is one of the best mid laners when it comes to side laning. I feel like in this league, and he can definitely uh, expose some mids there. So, Femboys though taking away some of the Pseudo answers to Akali here in the Talia and the Ari. Champs like Veigar are still open, which do very well into Akali, kind of putting a cage around her and stopping all the dashes. So, Instinct taking away some of the lockdown like junglers and top laners and Camille and Nocturne. And we see a Trundle hover coming from Femboys. That would be an interesting pick here. A little bit of a flex pick. It doesn't. It can go top, can go jungle. We have seen Arctic play this Trundle quite a bit as well, so maybe this is a little bit of a fearless like deny pick coming out of Femboys. But we'll see what happens. What is their answer for this? Volibear coming out, so going to be a Volibear top in the Trundle. And then let's see what Instinct wants to pick here for mid. They see a Kali showing here. Lysandra still up, Malzahar still up, Veigar still up. Which all of these I think are really solid picks into what Femboys is showing here. Let's see. The Twisted Fate. This is something we haven't seen all season here. Oh, and the Volibear answer for Trundle ends up being a Trundle flex pick into the jungle. And now we have Jax coming out. Jax being one of the more well-known counters into Volibear top. Trundle going into the jungle. This Twisted Fate, able to press R, and I believe Twisted Fate ult does reveal Akali in her shroud. So this is going to be a nice little wrinkle to the draft.
I'd rather be home anyway. I have more important matters to attend to. If I want your opinion, I'll beat it out of you.
Alright. Game 2. Instinct taking the blue side. Or, I'm sorry, Femboys wanting the red side here. And, you know, the biggest thing for me is Jack's counter pick into Volibear. It's something that I know a couple top laners I played with in the past really like the Jack side of the matchup. Akali in the TF. I think it's something that Akali, even if she does get pressure and does get pushed somehow, Twisted Fate's perfectly okay with that. He CS's and acts kind of like an AD carry until he gets like, some items. So, I think this is going to be really big. I do think, though, Instinct has a lot of ways of attacking this bot lane. But unlike Aphelios comps I've seen in the past, Lulu is probably one of Aphelios' best friends here. And if they don't get Aphelios on this first engage, or even if they only get him with just a follow-up, Aphelios can put down a lot of damage. And with Instinct not having a dedicated tank, he's not going to take and need much time here post 3 items to get through something like a Volibear or a Jarvan here. So I think this is a little bit of a wrinkle to where I see Instinct do really well when Don and Avalon, or Don and Arctic are calling the shots as far as the engaged buttons. but now we see Don Don on more of an enchanter, more of a peel style champion. So we'll see how this goes here. I'm going to let the spectator kind of run out while I get something to drink and something to snack on real quick. And we will be back here with Game 2 of Instinct vs. Femboys. Alrighty. Sorry about that, gentlemen. I was just clearing up some stuff. We do have week 1 of our rec league starting up, so I was getting asked a couple of questions there and was dealing with some stuff, so we're super excited for that. But until then, let's focus on this. One thing I noticed, and I didn't really have a chance to unmute in time to really talk about it, was we have the new, or not new, but the improved and buffed spellbook coming out for Good Boy, which I am a big fan of this keystone. I used to run it quite a bit on Anivia. Oh, Kyle with the stun here. Though Inferno having to flash away. Monk getting super aggressive here. Like, first blood going over to Monk off the Good Boy. Arctic, though, taking quite a bit here. Mac ends up taking out Arctic, so big start here for Femboys in this level 1. Mac ends up picking one. First blood going over to Monk as well. That's not something you want to give an Akali player, this first blood. Inferno trying to do his best on this red buff. Looks like he's going to have no issues taking it. Kyle starting off with that stun, I think, was super clutch there. They did not respect it enough. You had a little bit of a pause coming out. Then the Riot Specials, I like to call it, where this spectator's not going to lag for the 3-minute buffer. Oh, a little bit of a lag there from the spectator. We love it. But Mac hadn't had a chance to go back and spin that kill that he got, the gold, so. But still has red chakra. Eclipse going forward here off the level 2 with Don. So, decent trading here in the bot lane. We do expect the Lucian Nami to have a little bit of pressure early. Femboys game to win. I would think so. Especially Kyle up here in this top lane is going to end up kind of flashing. I think he was expecting Arctic to flash there, but kind of mentaled himself into that flash. But that is Feats of Warfare going over the Femboys as they strike the first 3 times here, up 700 gold, and already 3 kills before the first clear was even done. Do you see a touch of a CS lead developing in mid and AD, but top side, Kyle definitely getting the best of Arctic here. So, Monk, though, catching a touch back up on the CS lead. Here's Avalon, though. Flash gold card coming out for Good Boy. Monk ends up using the Shroud here. Mac getting shielded here by Ashes, which was really good on them. Polymorph coming out, so Mac getting a little bit of a retreat here. And a really nice rotation here from Max Aphelios on that trade back. And look, Monk with that first blood on the first back gets a needlessly large rod, so he's wanting to be super aggressive in this laning phase. See Kyle going forward here against Arctic. Stunning up Arctic. Trying to stall time as Inferno just got done doing doubles here. Oh, and a flash coming over from Avalon here. Kyle, those level 6, is making him pretty tanky here. Arctic ends up flashing away to get the kill. And that's one coming back here. Monk, though, is level 5 coming up top here. And ends up picking up another one here. So Monk rotating top to get the last little bit of damage here on the Arctic. And that's 2 kills on this Akali. We do see an Aether Wisp start here from Arctic, so go on Cosmic Drive first, which I think is really useful here. But it's a lot of damage here. Monk, though, with the level 6, using R1 to get away and R2 to go back under turret here. So Volibear forcing some cooldowns out of Monk here. Right now we have a little bit of a lane swap. Oh, and a solo kill coming out from Monk, though Instinct is taking this first dragon here. So that's 3 kills early on this Akali, which is going to be fucking really hard to stop here. Not the greatest amount of CC. You do have targeted CC coming out of Good Boy here. And I think Good Boy's going to feel comfortable in the side lane, like once Roa gets completed and has a couple stacks here. Kyle all-inning here, flashing away. Avalon, though, has the level 6, ends up ulting Kyle here to get one back. So Jarvan now on the board, 1-0-1. Now I think, honestly, you have to get these lanes corrected. If you're for the side of Femboys, is I don't think Akali's going to eventually scale and be doing. She's got 3 kills. Never mind. She's just going to do a boatload of damage. I feel like, though, ultimately, you still kind of want to get these lanes back just because of the amount of pressure Good Boy can put on the rest of the map here, to where I think Akali can get kind of offensive with him. But here's Akali, and Monk does have ult. Oh, but Monk with the E! Does he get the R2 off? Oh, he does, but it doesn't end up taking out Good Boy. Clever on Monk to just land the E and wait for the teleport. Eclipse, though, burning the ult. Mac and Ashes, though, here in the bot lane. Mac has a few chakrams going, but not enough to continue that fight. Don's still sitting on ult here. Roa completed by Good Boys. That's a 9-minute Roa still when your lane opponent has 3 kills. A lot of these 2 plates from mid lane getting put to good use here on the Good Boy. Big trade coming out of the bot lane here, but nice turret by Mac here. Eclipse having the burn barrier doesn't get the greatest amount of value out of it, but nice little Q poke there. Inferno does get all 3 Void Grubs here, so we're tied at 1 neutral objective apiece. You know, Monk doing all the trading that he can. Don though, starting this turret dive with an R. Mac ends up cleansing before the bubble hits, so that was a feels bad moment. Oh, but Eclipse getting dove on by Monk. Inferno, though, cleaning up potentially Avalon. Kyle, though, taking a trade up top. And Arctic is going to end up... Oh, does he end up getting him? He'll chase him down here. Oh, and Kyle ends up getting out. Inferno chasing Good Boy here. Pillars him just to be an annoyance, but Good Boy ends up walking away from this, so... Monk getting a plate of gold down at the bottom here. Oh, and Kyle ends up using the movement speed from TP to end up getting on him. Monk, though, fighting down here a bot. Doesn't have Shroud. Kyle dives Arctic here and ends up trading it 1 for 1. But the big back from Monk there. Now he's got a Shadow Flame and Sword Boots, so he's still going to do a boatload of damage. Oh, we've seen Mac getting buffed up here, going after Don. Sidestepping the Severum Q. Nice double root coming down. Flashes over the Namiel. Well played by Mac. We do have TF porting down bot. It's going to end up being a 2 for 1. But well played by Mac there. With all the resources getting used bot lane now, looks like we do have the dragon starting up here by Femboys. Monk creating some space here so Avalon can't jump into it, and Inferno's going to end up taking this dragon, so that's Hextech Dragon going over. Feats of Warfare was picked up by Femboys here, so 1 more neutral objective. They get the Feats of Strength. We do see Avo coming up top here. Kyle does have Flash up. Gets jumped on here by Arctic. Uses ult to get as tanky as he can. And Kyle ends up getting 1 in that 1v3. Inferno, though, ganking bot lane. And ends up taking out Eclipse. Actually, sorry, gave that one over to Mac. So Mac now 3 kills here. Looking way better on this Aphelios compared to last game on the Lethality Varus. And with Chakrams here, they're going to take this turret. And this is a massive take here. They get it before 14 minutes, so that was that last plate and first turret gold going over to Mac and Ashes off the bot lane. Good Boy does get top turret in response here, and also doesn't see the triple plant up top here. Kyle actually ends up stopping it. Good Boy, though, burning the ghost from Spellbook. Kyle still jumping on him. Oh, but flashes over stuns. Inferno is here to help out as well. Kyle getting taken low. Good Boy still here. A Monk diving onto the bot lane here, but ends up getting Don's flash out. Nice pillar by Inferno to stop Arctic from jumping on the Kyle there. Arresto, Good Boy fan club assemble. I mean, he's good. I'm a fan. I'm a fan of both mids. Monk getting jumped on here from both Eclipse and Don. And ends up getting taken out as Eclipse now is on the board here on this Lucian. So nice little brush cheese from the bot lane here. And Instinct finds himself up here about 1,500 gold in this game 2 of the finals. InstinctCK did take game number 1 for those just joining us. Big fight coming here in the mid lane as Good Boy ends up taking out Mac. Monk's here, though. He's still got quite a bit of damage. But likewise, we've seen them attack Arctic up here in the top lane. And Kyle trying to get this turret, but ends up getting taken out by the turret here. Oh, Monk going in straight up on Don here. And ends up R'ing out. Ashes, though, will get taken out as he was there trying to help Monk. But we do see Rift Herald getting dropped here mid. And we'll take this mid turret. And they actually, I think, they won't crash it second. But Mac will be here to gather some of that golden resources. Monk almost on 2 items. Excuse me, is being pretty aggressive here. Likewise, though, Good Boy having a quiet 4-kill game himself on 2.5 items. Got the Lich Bane completed, going for a rapid fire cannon. And I think this this fight here for this next dragon is going to be kind of a low-key decider for how this mid game is going to go. Because whatever team ends up picking out the second dragon is going to have a lot of momentum. But we see Femboys picking up the second Drake as Instinct really didn't contest this at all. Just pushed out mid and maybe collapsing here. Good Boy ends up jumping on the Mac. Mac burning the cleanse here. Lulu ult coming out. Oh, and this Aphelios has a... Oh, Aphelios Gaming was almost possible there. As Eclipse ends up surviving. His Ashes flash just to try and get the last bit of damage onto him. You do have Inferno kind of posturing against Arctic here. Kyle also as well. The Bash brothers here up top, trying to see if they want to pick a fight here. TF buff revert win. I mean, never know. Gold card coming out though, and Mac ends up falling here. Oh, we see Jarvan making a play up top here with Good Boy and Don. And Ashes does end up falling here. Mac left to be the only one defending. Kyle kind of taking these guys on a road trip through their side of the jungle. TF ult almost coming up. Kyle getting the stun out, but Avalon's there. Take him up. Don uses ult to stop Monk from going aggressive here. Stun comes out. Oh, that Inferno moving at Mach 10 there. Getting away from a volley bear with Q up. Sorry, I'm getting a lot of questions from Rec League teams. Again, they are starting up their matches here very soon. I think one's getting started here in about a half hour. One may be starting here in about 5 minutes. So I'll let you guys know where you can find that action here. Once we see if this becomes a fight or not. Good boy using the ult here. Oh, and Instinct just turning onto this fight here. Monk diving into the back line. One-shotting Don here. Let's see who ends up. Oh, Trundle ends up getting the dragon here. So big steal by Infernal. Eclipse getting ran down in the back line. Mac just firing away at everybody. Good boy still alive. Arctic still alive. Mac just trying to run through Good Boy. I'm sorry, through Arctic to get the Good Boy. And Inferno ends up getting a double here. Mac will end up getting this one. And that's an ace coming out of Femboys here to tie this game up. 19 kills to 19 kills. Instinct kind of, you know, flipping this Otacon here. But Otacon also reduces your resistances. And with a full pen build coming out of Monk, his damage was massive in that fight. So we do see Mac halfway done with his last Whisper item. Everybody else on 2.5 going here. Arctic kind of slowly ticking away at his second item here. Good Boy being the biggest one on the map so far with 3 items here. I will say, when Mac has the go button, he is not afraid of anybody over here at Instinct right now. This is what I was super afraid of with Aphelios. Like, if you basically just like try to bum rush him as a champion, he can stand his ground quite heavily, especially with a Lulu. So we're going to see how Instinct has to play around these team fights now. We do see Arctic completing his second item now. Dragon getting started up here by Instinct. It's at about 5,700 halfway. Inferno going ahead and ulting. Jarvan EQ's out of his own ult. Good Boy presses R. We see Kyle re-engaging though. Good Boy kind of frontlining here. Avalon picks up the ult. Max still trying to stand his ground. Aphelios ult hits 2 on the back line. Oh, Kyle with a big flash stun here. And Inferno and Mac now cleaning up this fight. And that's 4 down. Gonna be 5 here. As Inferno just absolutely cleaning up both these last 2 fights here. So Avalon did end up getting the dragon. So we are tied on dragons 2-2, but Femboys now pulling ahead a little bit. So they're up by 1,000 gold now. God Gamer Jack's getting activated. Yeah, Kyle knowing that he was probably going to fall there, getting a flash stun off was so clutch in that fight. Mac taking this mid tier 2. So, while we do have a touch of downtime, for those kind of joining us and fans of the newly relaunched Rec League, War Initiate will be hosting on his own personal channel, Team Solid vs. Big Brains, here in about a half hour. He's going to post that in the server. You guys feel free to share these links and show us some love for our low elo folks here in the Rec League. So we finally were able to relaunch this and give them something. Kyle battling Arctic here in the bot side. And, oh, big heal by Arctic actually here. But Kyle just whacking away at this. Oh, and he uses the Seeker's arm guard there to Zanya's, but Good Boy ends up popping ult and coming down bot lane. Just in case he needed it. We do see Seeker's arm guard now completed by Monk. Eclipse getting buffed up here. Mac just walking into them. Oh my lord! What an Aphelios ult. Holy shit, that was massive. And Monk just comboing Good Boy here. Oh my lord, and this looks like an end angle for Femboys here. On top of a 10-4 and 8 performance by Mac. Just literally frontlining most of these fights here. He just absolutely just went into the faces of Instinct and just dared him to do something. Oh my lord, what a 200 years common. Or, I'm sorry, ult there. Wow. Yep. That's getting clipped. And polished off with a good old victory screen. I did ask them to not invite me, please, at the request of the chat. So, Femboys though taking game 2 and a very impressive response overall. Alright. Hopefully that mutes the sound as well. Just in case. Because I do agree they probably aren't watching the stream unless you are Mac and you wanted to relive that R, because holy shit, was that 200 years or not? So we have SFXs muted. We should not be hearing the ding anymore. Hit by a Mack truck. All right, I like that. I like that. At least now, okay. Arresto, you get credit. That's the title of the clip. There we go. I love it. Hit by the Mack truck. I love it. So while we are waiting on just a few, let's see. Let me pull up the schedules here. As most of you guys have known, I'm super excited for this rec league to get started here. And just to kind of give you an idea of what we got. So for those that played in the Sweat League, we have a preview of of two teams that played in the Sweat League that have came down to the Rec League to battle it out in Chapakungus, Clungus Among Us versus Bop It Twisted Gank It. That will be played on Saturday at 9:30. I will be casting that because much love for those two teams. But tonight we have 3 series. Team Solid, featuring some returning Rec League members and 7 in Souls versus Big Brains, all mechanics, piloted by Shreets and Cluzon, who were also part of the Sweat League this past split. And then Caster Curse, featuring the newly came out of retirement Pens, who has been a support for Team along with Caster Curse when we played together last split, versus Minimum Talent Esports, MTE, being another returning team that played in the Sweat League 2 splits ago. And I will say MTE has been absolute nothing but a pleasure to talk with. They were super interested when their split ended about potentially entering the Rec League. We didn't decide to relaunch it, but this year I made it a point. I said, this is going to happen, even if I have to, forfeit a bunch of times outside of life. But we wanted to make this Rec League happen. We have 8 teams currently in it, so it's been a pleasure to work with all 8 teams. We had our captains meeting last week, and everything went very, very well. So I'm super excited that this got lifted off, and overall just had no issues with it whatsoever. So yeah, that's where we're at with that. They actually didn't even tell me they were starting draft. Oops, my fault. So this is our Game 3 draft. I do apologize for that, actually. I did not know they were starting it up. So I did not catch the R from Eclipse there, so my apologies here. So we do see Instinct with the 2 patented bands, LeBlanc, Aurora, Renekton getting taken away from Kyle, Femboys getting rid of Vi, Poppy, Galio. Galio's been just a perma ban for Femboys. Monk has been on record of absolutely hating that champion, so not a shocker there. Femboys go B1 Ivern, respond by Jin Zyra. Sivir, Jace getting taken by Femboys here. Jace most likely going top. We see Kyle played it in the semifinals. But Instinct kind of taking the wild card here and making the first unique pick in the draft at a York. So this is going to be interesting to see how Femboys responds to this York pick. Campbell, pleasure of you joining us. Will be a pleasure casting you guys here on Saturday. First 2 games were pretty good. Instinct took game 1. Femboys had a very explosive response game 2. in a very insane fashion, especially by Mac on his Aphelios. So Leona taken away by Instinct. Femboys getting rid of the Nefiri, and Instinct taken away the Maokai. So we'll see what Femboys' last ban is going to be. There are still some things up that do well into York. Cho'Gath's kind of the one I've been seeing in some of the major regions doing quite well. He heals off the ghouls, last hitting them. So we'll see what happens. Femboy's getting rid of the Yone here. So with the Alistar hover, we potentially are seeing a Zyra jungle coming out. That is not something we've seen. That is a Zyra jungle. So let's see what Femboys has to respond here. So Monk still has some picks up. Syndra come to mind. He's probably never going to be playing LeBlanc again, though Good Boy, also an avid LeBlanc player. Gwen getting taken here from Femboys, so that is an answer into the York top. Gwen being able to press W during York E, and even then can press W with the ghouls not taking damage there. So this Jace is most likely then going to go mid with that Gwen being taken as well. And now Ashes getting the Nautilus here, the B5. And a Talon being hovered here. This would be our first Talon of the split. Or it's Ivern top. Could be. Oh, Syndra taken away here. Okay. So Syndra being kind of the deny pick in Fearless towards Mac as well, trying to trim up his champion pool a little bit. This could be Ivern top Gwen jungle. That could be true. So we will see how this ends up shaping up. So, let's see where everybody goes. Not having SFX sounds is weird here, but we do it for the chat. They don't want to hear the dings, we find a way to get rid of the dings. And luckily, we have our 2021 World Championship theme. Game 2 was peak. Game 2 was amazing. Alright, so one thing we've already seen here is this is Gwen versus York in the top lane. Zyra versus Ivern in the jungle here. So this will be Jace versus Syndra in the mid lane. So not too much tomfoolery going around here in the draft. Binky on Jace cooked. We'll see. They played games with his Akali last game and ended up giving over a kill early. He gave him first blood, which I think is what helped him really stay confident and snowball into that game. These mids have been trading counter picks. I mean, we seen the Xerath counter pick in the Hui not go great for the Xerath, but then Monk strikes back as they tried to counterpick TF into his Akali, and the Akali came out on top. He played it in scrims hoping it's not the same Jace I laned against. Uh, you and Binky will always have this great friendly rivalry going on, Rurika. So, let me know in the chat here what team we like, what comps we like. Who do you think takes this game 3 between Femboys and Instinct here? They're both on the board 1-1. Alright. Well, I'm going to get a refresh of water here. And just make sure everything is good with the Rec League teams as they are starting to file in and get ready for their start. Alright, here we go as we are loading into game 3. Both teams took a game apiece. Instinct took a very methodical game 1, and the Femboys ended up striking back here for game 2 as we load in immediately with a pause. But it was a very, very short pause. So, waiting for the spectator to catch up. Missed the end of game 2, but loving the games. Well, I appreciate that, Casey. That actually means a lot. Doing our best here to bring you guys some entertaining League of Legends between these teams. And we'll have more coming up with the Rec Leagues game starting up. I know everybody's probably sick and tired of hearing me talk about it ad nauseum, but giving off static. That I did not know, of course. Hopefully that kind of helped. If not, I will, hopefully it's not too loud. We can just get through this game before I diagnose that. Of course, in the finals, hardware issues, who would have thunk? I appreciate it, Rika. None but love. Gotta have some cowbell there, Don Don. Of course it is. I have solo kills. It's low-key been there since the start of the split. Look, man, I'm doing what I can with what I got. It was already hard enough to get two other people willing to cast the Rec League games. So, we're just going to make this work here. I was assumed as his fan. Yeah, no, my shit sucks. My setup sucks. It's old. It's 2018. I made this setup, so it's aged well, but it's time.
One more grave.
I think the thing I'm super excited to see. Oh, okay, we got a big fight here in the bot lane. So Mac eats an ignite plus a fourth shot. Excuse me, off the Don Don engage. I'm super excited to see the Zyra jungle here. It's not something we've seen in quite a while. I think the last person to play it was Flame Dog 2 splits ago. See Avo looking mid here. And Monk trying to flash out of it, but Avo being really disciplined, saving everything. Kyle, though, going all in on Arctic and ends up getting flash Q'd in the face. So Instinct strikes first this game with 2 early kills, one off a gank mid, and Arctic solo killing up top. Inferno trying to get something done, but Arctic ends up boxing him in here. See, Inferno ends up flashing away here, trying to auto Arctic, but unsuccessful. Avalon returning again here, and Instinct takes the feats of warfare early in this game 3. Do you see Don Don getting jumped on here in the bot lane? Flashes away though. Avalon being a nuisance with a lot of these plants here. Max with a really nice spell shield overall. Flash coming out of Ashes, the Dirus Flash there. No one tried to follow. Still, though, Avalon making a really, really big impact on this map early with 2 kills. Hex Flash coming out of Don Don with an Ignite, and Ashes trying to do what he can, but eats a 4-shot by Eclipse. Mac trying to do what he can here, trading autos with Eclipse. Eclipse, though, burning the barrier. Mac now burning the barrier, and now getting spaced out here. And that is a 6-0 start for Instinct, as they're taking control of this game early. Arctic getting ganked up here, though. Kyle doing what he can, and the shutdown ends up going to Inferno here. Still, now Femboys is on the board here. Now only down about 600 gold here at the 7-minute mark. But Avo again coming out. Oh, Ash is burning the Q onto Eclipse here. And it looks like Ashes is just going to accept his fate here. They're going to do a really good job giving it over to Eclipse. Avo starting up this dragon early. This has been all Instinct from the word go. I feel like the biggest win condition now is going to be through this Gwen up top here. Trying to get her a little more ahead. Inferno starting up the grubs here. At least trying to get something back. Ivern doesn't take the quickest objectives here, but yeah, Daisy do be pounding. So nice stun coming out from Good Boy. Let's take a second here. Good Boy is on 46 stacks, so doing fairly well in a range v range matchup. Kyle looks like he's trying to all-in Arctic here. Oh, and ends up chopping down the York. Avo flashing forward here, trying to get the damage for the ult. Gwen does immune the snare here. But Avo still ends up chasing down the Gwen. Mac and Ashes, though, chopping down, using the grubs that Inferno got them. Gets a plate bot lane. Kyle looking to all in. Potentially Arctic here. His Ignite is up, but not the ult here. So just trying to set up Arctic up for lethal here. Q coming out by Ashes there, just kind of looking to trade and be a little bit of a nuisance. Mac ended up backing. Inferno popping Daisy here, flash queuing here, and they're going after Good Boy. Good Boy ends up ulting. Monk tried to QE away, but the plants ended up tanking everything. Inferno loses Daisy quite quickly. So, now we got just a touch of breather here. It is 2 to 8 kills in favor of Instinct here. Instinct did take the first dragon. Inferno did secure those grubs overall. And the score for the series is 1-1. Instinct had a very methodical, very strong mid game that they snowballed in game 1. And Femboys responded back with a big, epic team fight to end game 2. Eureka, here you go, my friend. Ash is getting jumped on here, but he uses the ult to try and dissuade Avalon, but is going to end up falling here. So, looking at the individual gold leads, you see top has a little bit of a lead for Kyle. Oh, here's Inferno. All right, Daisy versus the Maiden. Let's see who wins. Looks like Daisy does not win this one. But Kyle getting another plate here. And that ends up putting him about 700 gold up on the York. Avo, though, seeing that he was topside, getting that. Don flashing over here, going after Monk. Inferno, though, with the first item redemption, able to cover Monk there. Who approved this draft? On which side are you referring to? Because I could see problems with both drafts, and there's some parts of these drafts I really like. Kyle trying to trade here. Inferno in his back pocket, though, shielding him quite heavily. Kyle ends up burning Ignite here and ends up taking him down as well. So, again, this Gwen is probably going to be the biggest factor here for the side of Femboys to try and prolong this game. He's definitely referring to blue. There's aspects of blue's draft that I like. Oh. So that's how that works. So, Mac trying to spell shield, though, does end up getting away. Good Boy, though, flashing to get the ult on. Actually didn't flash, just ulted him. And Kyle just clipping the hedges here as Zyra ends up falling. All right, Daisy now trying to get redemption here on the Arctic. Chat's starting to pop off here in this game 3. Bot lane jumping on the Don Don. He pops ult here. Mac trying to get some return damage. Sivir ends up getting shielded by Inferno. Inferno using the redemption, but it doesn't come down quick enough as Good Boy presses R onto Mac. And that's it. Kyle trying to solo frontline this whole team comp and was unsuccessful. Monk ends up getting snared there. And that's a triple kill going over to Arctic. With that a triple kill, now we see the top is only 600 gold behind Kyle's Gwen here. And that is also feats of strength going over to Instinct as well. Kyle is on 2 items here. Let's see if he can make anything happen in the split versus York. Good Boy sitting on 87 stacks, so you know, a touch behind, but not too bad. Ash is getting caught out again here, and Eclipse is going to rack up his 6th kill. Seems like specifically Don Don and Eclipse just have Ashes pegged on where he's going to go try to ward here. Because he is getting caught out quite a bit. Headbutt Pulverize coming out of Don Don here. Inferno just ends up falling before the redemption even hits. Kyle trying to do his best here. Monk getting all in here by Good Boy. Flashes away. Kyle trying to chop down Don Don. He pops all. Kyle's R1 goes side. I'm sorry, that was R3. My apologies. And they end up getting 1 in return onto Don Don, but they just walk away with only 1 death here. Ashes kind of posturing like he wants this fight. And now Kyle's revealed himself. And Ash is going to get taken out again. Inferno getting his grave dug here by this York. And he ends up taking the Rift Herald away here. Gwen does immune. And Good Boy gets executed by the turret here as Avalon takes his 3rd Drake. So now 3 Drakes here before the 20-minute mark for this Zyra jungle here. Avalon now posturing on the Kyle here. Oh my lord, this Gwen damage. Oh, Gwen, maybe? Ignite? Oh my lord, Kyle winning the 2v1 versus Arctic and Avalon here in the bot lane. This has been the shining light for Femboys this game 3 here is Kyle Kittenhouse on this. Oh, what a reaction on the W. But forces Good Boy to burn Flash. Good Boy, though, now TPing top lane to counteract the Jace push here. Yeah, the Gwen 1v9 could come hard. The problem is there's not enough melees. I feel that she's going to get the most amount of value or have these 1v9 moments. Zyra and with Alistar's help can keep her contained in a team fight. Nice flash coming out of Inferno there off the headbutt pulverize. Inferno, though, just kind of dancing around here. Gets snared by Eclipse. Nautilus ult comes out. Double TP coming. Here comes the top laners here. Yorick going to be deep into this backline, though. Let's see if they can take care of him. Ashes ends up falling. Arctic's going to fall, but not without taking out Inferno. Now Mac is on the side here, frontlining against Good Boy. And here comes Gwen. Avalon's ult comes out to CC. And that's all she wrote for this team fight. Oh, flashed in a straight line from Mac. Unfortunate here. And fourth shot coming out as Eclipse picks up his 9th kill of this game here. Now we see Instinct using this tempo here to get the Otacon. Yeah, that Zyra ult was really, really clutch here, just making it hard for Gwen to continue moving into the fight. Arctic also taking out Inferno in the 1v5 in the back line I thought was really clutch because they could play through Ivern's shields and heals really heavily. He can use those on Mac and on Kyle quite well. So, 9 kills to 24. We see about a 5,000 gold lead, which, to be honest, I'm surprised it's not much more than that. Shutdowns do a lot here. 3 dragons to none here for the side of Instinct. They do have Soul Point coming up here in less than a minute. Kyle doing whatever he can on the side lane to make it happen. He's been the shining light for Femboys this game. Instinct setting up vision inside Femboys' jungle here. Monk having a really rough game here at 1 and 4. Is on 2 items, so the poke is going to start hurting a little bit. Level advantage, you see 1 in the top lane for Femboys, but everything else is just screaming Instinct. Mac 2 levels down the Eclipse. So 2 items completed by virtually everybody but the supports coming out here. Inferno might have a chance to get to his 3rd item. They're looking to jump on the Monk right now. Don. Flash headbutt pulverizing, and that is it for this Jace. So Femboy's doing a really good job. Oh, but the Q coming out, hitting up Arctic, and he's going to fall. Eclipse throwing out his ult here. They're on the dragon, but they might give up at least this tier 3, potentially this inhib, actually. And what a trade here by Femboy. Are they looking to end? No way. This is a disjointed back by Instinct. This could go Femboys' way here. Don doing his best. Both turrets end up falling. Good Boy TP's right into the line. Inferno ends up getting hit by the ult. Oh, and Femboys, get the 2 turrets and hit the Nexus, but it wasn't enough here. What a try and an attempt to end the game here for Femboys. Don Don having to stay to protect the potential Nexus back door as everybody else is going over to this Baron. Oh, Lord, that damage. Good boy goes godlike. 7-1 and 13 now. Yeah, that was such a ballsy call by Femboys there that almost worked. The Ashes getting saved there by Inferno. Redemption coming off cooldown here soon. Inferno now on 2 items. Has the Knight's Vow onto Mac. Mac now completing IE here. Kyle trying to go after Good Boy here. Good Boy low on mana. Is the Ignite coming out? Gwen holding on to the R3. Good Boy getting ran over. Oh, but Kyle trying to use the Q from Inferno in there. And here's Gwen in the middle of everybody now. Ends up going a little too deep. And what would have been a massive shutdown ends up them over chasing to knock out Good Boy. And he completes his death cap. He completes the upgraded boots. Now has Magi Soul Stealer. This Syndra is 100% online and fed now after all of that. I seen the thought you had to go for the Hail Mary. Oh, Inferno getting picked off by Good Boy. Putting in a ward there. Looking for a potential TP backdoor. Ash is tanking up all of this Jhin R. He's actually like low-key pretty tanky right now. Arctic staying back just in case Kyle's TP comes in from a spot they don't know. Kyle coming up in 3 seconds. Kyle diving the back line now. Mac ends up falling here. Gets hit by the Zyra ult. Good Boy fighting Monk here on the side. Good Boy just does so much damage now. And this is a very impressive response to Game 2 here, as Instinct takes Game 3 in what was a rout, but had some really scary moments there overall. So, big statement here for Instinct, but I'm not gonna lie, Femboys, and they almost shot called that win there. That was very, very impressive overall. So we'll see what this Game 4 ends up having in store for this finals now, as Instinct is now on match point. They are up 2-1 on Femboys here. And now that I have a second, and this will probably not be the last time that I say this, for those having dual screens, or even 3 monitors, we now have the Rec League has officially started with War Initiate on his channel, and our Pies, one of our senior casters and overall goats of the server, on the LOLMidwest Twitch channel, casting some returning members here in today's LOLMidwest Rec League. We have 3 series going on. Another one gets started here in 10 minutes, but unfortunately we do not have the capabilities nor the casters for that one, so I will cover those replays tomorrow. And that is between let me pull this up real quick. You'd think as much as I look at them it'd be memorized. So we have our Pies covering Caster Curse vs Minimum Talent on the Twitch channel. War Initiate is covering Team Solid versus Big Brains on his channel. And Happy Jellyfish versus MN Misfits will start up here soon. For those fans of that series, if you have one of the players added, you can spectate it through the friends list. I will be covering the replays tomorrow when I get done with the draft, when I get the drafts and everything from them. And then Saturday, potentially rescheduled for Sunday, will be Bop It, Twist It, Gank It versus Capachungus Deluxe here, as those two teams are returning from the Sweat League this split. So, for those interested in those, they are linked in the Rec League chat. For those in the server, you can go to the Rec League chat and click on those links and check out that action, which I might just hop over and join one of those guys when that comes. So, but a big shout out to all of the Rec League teams here. They have been an absolute pleasure to talk to, and I'm glad we could get this relaunched here. So, shout out there. I know a lot of people were excited with it. I know Rurika, Julia, even Binky. I've used Brandino from CoinFlip to get a lot of advice. Don's shown a lot of excitement towards it. There's been a lot of players in the Sweat League that are super having success with that. So, looks like we are getting ready to start up draft for Game 4 here. So let's go ahead and head over to that. So, Instinct, pretty consistent with the bans. I would expect LeBlanc to come out. Femboys, always. I don't think they have a single game where they haven't banned Galio this season, let alone for sure this playoffs. But LeBlanc being taken out by Instinct. This is interesting. I was curious if Instinct was going to try and flip the LeBlanc or make them ban it, because Good Boy has a really solid LeBlanc as well. But Femboy's getting rid of the Vi. Any hands, diff, mechanical type of player hates Vi, the one-button punch. And then Ari taken out by Instinct. So 3 bans going towards Monk Mentality here in this Game 4. And Oriana taken away as well. So these mid lane pools are getting shrunk quite heavily. We'll see what the answer is going to be. Instinct with a Skarner. Okay. This is something we haven't seen in a bit. Big tanky presence in the jungle. Does need some time to scale up and get an item or two to really feel that tanky. But still, was a meta jungler a while back. Femboy's responding with potentially a Lilia hover, and that is a Lilia pick. So Lilia has always been a solid answer to Skarner. He's able to, or she is able to run around and just cause hell. Like Skarner, it's impossible for the Skarner player to really like keep tabs and to chase her down. Caitlyn getting taken by Femboys here, so already posturing into kind of a stand your ground comp. Instinct covering the Ashe, so let's see if this gets locked in. Ashe ult's going to be fairly difficult to hit on this Lilia when she's just permanently running around at Mach 6. And then Talia getting taken over, potentially. Horse Champ OP. Yep. I think Lily is technically a deer. Talia getting picked up by Instinct, but Femboy's hovering the Zed here. Oh, we have Monk Mentality Zed coming out as an answer to Good Boys Talia. So the gauntlet's been thrown here in this mid lane. Talia doesn't really have the biggest amount of like counterplay buttons to go after this Zed here. So we'll see how this works out. Talia's not a big fan of building Roa either. Support's getting taken away here as the support pool kind of gets shrank a little bit. The one game Femboys did win, Don was on more of an Enchanter backliney support. So they're taking out some of the playmaking. They tackled a lot of the hook champs. Actually, all the hook champs are off the table since Nautilus was taken away last game here. And then Instinct attacking Kyle's pool up top, getting rid of the Renekton and the Aatrox. So we'll see what Femboys does here. I would suspect them to pick support. Let's see what Ashe's plays here. Do we potentially see another Enchanter, like a Milio, a Yumi, a Sona, something like that? Or a Nico. Nico coming out here for Ashes, which I think is really solid here. If he ever lands the snare through minions, then Caitlyn follows it up with a Cupcake Trap. And there's a boatload of damage coming out from that duo. I also like the Nico into Skarner. Even if he lands the ult on you, you can still charge up your ult, and he's guaranteed to get hit by it. Seraphine coming out, so Ashe Seraphine being the duo in the bot lane. But let's see what Arctic has in the top side here. What does he want to blind pick? And a Tom Kench? Okay. So Arctic pulling out the Tom Kench top lane here. Let's see what Femboys has in response here. There's a lot of range and there's a lot of beef, but not the highest amount of damage here. So maybe something like a Scion wouldn't be terrible. Orin's off the table. Malphite wouldn't be great. Oh! Yone coming out here. Alright, this is quite an interesting draft from both sides here. Femboys going with the no tank team comp, so they want to fight and snowball off of that. Instinct having more of a general team comp and 2 frontliners, 2 backliners, and a utility. So we'll see here. I think this is going to be quite an interesting game. So, especially the Tom Kench versus Yone. We haven't seen Yone top This split, I don't think. I know there's been one or two Yone top players. Ares from Team Scorch kind of comes to mind. Now we have a discussion in the chat on is Lily a horse or a deer. I tend to trend that she's more of a deer, but I'm cool with wherever we go with that one. I'm curious on who won draft here. Tell me here in chat. What do you think? How do you think the draft went for both sides? Here, actually, I'll pull that up as I ask that question here. And man, this is gonna be a really curious draft or game overall. I think if Femboys gets an early lead, this could definitely snowball their way, especially if Zed gets a kill or two. The viewers won this draft. I mean, I'm excited for this one, for sure. I'm super excited for this one. Well, we're done with the draft in client here. So nothing different. Everybody went exactly where we thought. So, be curious to see who takes this game 4 here. Again, InstinctCK on match point. They are on blue side here. And Femboys are looking to take this into a game 5 on red side. So I'm going to let this timer kind of count down, and after that we will move right over to this game here. Instinct feels like they're going to close this one out. They've been locked in. I mean, I can't exactly disagree with that. I feel like they definitely have a lot of the momentum going on here. I do think, though, Femboys, man, they throw some haymakers and some punches that I don't think not very many teams play against. I mean, Coin Flip is another one where these three teams from Group A just fight and fight very, very well. But here we go. Game 4 of the LOL Sweat LOL Midwest Sweat League Finals here, as we are now tied. Or not tied, sorry. Instinct is up 3-1
30 seconds until minions
here.
spawn.
But we'll see what happens. Top laners look to brawl. Mid laners, like Monk, wants to get an advantage here. Mac getting potentially caught out. Had the flash away early here. I'm sorry, that was Ashes. My apologies. Ah, Nico Pass is gonna suck.
Minions have spawned.
A little bit of trading here bot side as they came to lane here. Nice solid poke coming out. Don actually took quite a bit of damage from that. Headshot hitting Don. So Seraphine taking quite a bit of auto attacks damage here in this lane. Good boy getting in Monk's face here. Trying to play against this Zed early game. And first blood coming off from Good Boy there. As Zed tried to flash ignite and get the all in. And Kyle just straight up taking his blue buff in front of Avalon? No, Avalon does get it here. But Arctic, though, coming down. Kyle has lethal tempo here. But ultimately it ends up falling off. So Avalon's clear getting delayed a little bit here. Kyle taking a Q here from Arctic. Good boy trading heavily against Monk's Zed here. Root coming out here, catches Mac. Oh, Kyle flashing, unfortunately in place. As Arctic looked to dive him there in front of the turret. Oh, Don's E just missing Ashes there. And Mac ends up getting one in return. Eclipse, though, having the flash forward and ends up jumping onto Mac's trap here. Mac getting taken by Avalon. Flashing over towards Inferno here. Mac still has lethal tempo going. Kyle potentially getting... Avalon had the flash. Kyle getting pressured topside really heavily. Inferno getting some damage on the Avalon here. Trying to push this in and make it better, but bot lane for Instinct is here. Don Don getting super big value out of that red trinket. Good Boy getting ganked here in the bot lane. Ashes getting getting W'd over, and Ashes is going to end up falling to Avalon, as that's Feats of Warfare going over to the side of Instinct here. Monk getting pelted with rocks here, and ends up getting taken out by Good Boy. So Monk down now 2-0 to Good Boy's Talia here in this lane. Avalon now looking top lane, decides not to. Bot side of the map for Mac. He's catching this wave here. Mac, though, being 2-0 is a really nice start for the side of Femboys here. Kyle getting off a really solid trade there in the Arctic.
If at first you don't succeed, throw another rock.
Monk taking a really big trade there from Good Boy, coming out on the wrong end of that one. Good Boy now pushing this in. It looks like Instinct's going to pressure this dragon here as they start it up. This is also an Ocean Drake, which I think is really big when you're playing a comp that's not the aggressor here, like what Instinct has. Good Boy putting up the Weaver's Wall there. Inferno having a really solid flash away. Ashes and Monk trying to do what they can. Zed ult comes out. Max on a killing spree now. Femboy's pushing this back. Shutdown onto Zed here from Good Boy. Ashes continuing to go forward. Avalon ends up having to run away here. And that's a hell of a fight brought over by Femboys. As Mac ends up getting one. Monk ends up getting a big shutdown from Good Boy here. Overall was a really big turning fight here, and Femboys now find themselves up 400 gold. Mac kind of looking like Saber here, though trying to get this plating as Good Boy roams down. And Good Boy ends up taking out Mac here. Interesting that Mac didn't have a shutdown, by the way. So, Zed potentially getting a plate. Getting stopped by Avalon here. Though Inferno doing his best getting these grubs here, which I think is a really big take, especially since you're the Caitlyn team. Caitlyn having Yuntals by 9 minutes is absurd. Nice wall back by Good Boy, though. Macro doing his best to return quite a bit of damage there. It's a big fight in the bot lane. Mac ended up having to burn both summoners going after Good Boy here. Something the spectator did not catch. Ashes getting ulted here by Don Don. Don Don having the burn heal to survive the Caitlyn ult. Kyle doing his best to all-in Arctic, and Arctic survives, though, with just a sliver of health. And Arctic getting, again, all-in by Kyle. He flashed Q3'd there. And Kyle ends up finally taking down Arctic. Oh! Monk with a solo kill on Good Boy underneath the mid lane turret. Well played by Monk there. And he ends up getting one back. Ash is trying to help Mac here. Inferno coming down as well. Skarner ult ends up picking up the kill. Ash's not being level 6 really hurts. Eclipse gets rooted here. But now Eclipse fires forward with the Ash slow here. And Eclipse ends up cleansing the Lilia ult here. So 1 for 3 then the bot lane. Instinct still finds themselves up about 200 gold. Avalon coming from the back here, though. Don Don's ult's going to end up pulling Ashes away. Good Boy also roaming bot. But Ashes does end up picking up Don Don at the end of it. So a 1 for 2. They sent 3 people bot side here. Oh, and a one-shot coming out of Monk there. As he ends up flashing onto Eclipse. They're warded in that brush there. Was that brush warded? It was warded. Boy, feels bad there. Monk kind of sitting here looking for Good Boy. Ends up will not finding him. Monk, though, getting stacks on this Hubris is pretty big. Kyle taking a trade up top. Kyle does not have his blade yet. Oh, Avalon taking Monk here, and the Heartsteel Bonk gets the Zed, and that is a shutdown. Also, that went over to Skarner. Ult coming out here from Kyle, going after Arctic. Arctic ends up using the ult on him. He ends up taking a turret shot. Nice return damage, actually, from Arctic here. And Kyle slowly growing the CS lead. Once he gets Blade of the Ruin King, this is going to be a tough battle by Arctic. Though I do like the Bramble Vest early coming out of him. Second dragon getting taken over by Instinct, so they get a dragon on the board. That ends up being a Hextech dragon himself. Oh lord, that's a Fire Drake. That is going to be an insane pickup for Femboys there if they get their hands on a couple of Fire Drakes, because that AD magnified by a Hubris giving you so much AD is going to be very, very hard to battle. They are the team comp with the 2 tanks in the front line, so they do have some ways of getting around it. But oh, double ult coming out by Inferno here. Good Boy, though, coming back with the Weaver's Wall. Zed nowhere to be found, and this is going to end up being a fight that Femboys picked, but they did not want. Mac trying to sit here and Aura Block. Flash coming out of Avalon with the ult, forcing Mac to flash. And Mac ends up getting slowed by Good Boy's boulder there. As Toph will end up taking out Caitlyn. Herald getting taken here. This Rift Herald will help them break open, most likely bot side, if I were to guess. But we'll see. Kyle dodging the ult here, sidestepping Arctic, getting a decent sized shield here, but ends up going back in and tried to get Don, but ended up falling. Good Boy getting jumped on here by Inferno and the rest of Femboys here. Don getting flashed on and taken out. W by Good Boy ends up running wild. Eclipse tanks one of the E's here. Arctic ends up ulting Eclipse here, and that was a clutch ult as they ended up returning fire and taking down both Monk and Ashes there. Well, let's take a little bit of a small little snapshot of this game. 18 kills to 9. Instinct up 1,400 gold. We see a lot of the gold value being put on to Avalon, Good Boy, and Eclipse. Looking at the individual gold here, Good Boy's up by 1,100. Kyle, though, up by almost 2K here, looking at 1,800. Junglers are about a 600 gold difference. AD... we see Eclipse has an extra 500 in the pocket. So, Instinct kind of starting to win on all fronts. Though, kind of what I said the last couple of games, you know, Kyle has a pretty big gold lead. Oh. Monk having the ult there to try and outplay Good Boy's poke there. So, Kyle, though, with this Blade of the Rune King, until they get a few more items, this Blade will be able to chop down these two tanks quite a bit. Ult going wide, missing Mac. Ash is getting chased down and taken out here as a pick made by Instinct. Now 20 to 9 here. Instinct looking poised to take this finals series here. See if Femboys can respond in this game. See Hubris only having one extra stack here for Monk. Kyle and Monk trying to look like they're going to pick somebody off here, but pick coming out here. They're diving on the Good Boy. Don's ult comes out. Good Boy just barely survives with the Seraph Shield. Kyle now getting kited away by Eclipse. Don gets a double, gets a triple on the Skarner here. And I feel like this was they felt like this was a desperation move for both of the backline assassins to go after the first squishy they seen. And Good Boy ended up surviving there, not only with the Seraph Shield, but Don's Locket, the W Seraph Shield coming out as well. There was so much protection thrown at this Talia. Ash is getting picked on again. Inferno jumping in here, going after Good Boy. Locket Shield comes out. Don getting chased away here by Kyle, but ends up not falling. Matt getting poked out here. Kyle trying to get towards the back line, ends up working it. Monk ends up taking out Eclipse here. And now we have what looks to be a 3v2 against the tanks that Instinct is brought here. Oh, an interesting blast cone, but ends up working out better. They go after Arctic. Arctic using the W to go over and get the Rift hurled. Okay, that was a clean escape.
I just had the strangest reality.
Looks like Froggy Style was the only team to test the champs. I mean, Femboys is putting up a good fight as well. Not to be said, Femboys actually took a game off Instinct at full strength. I'm sorry, they did not. They were both at subs. My apologies. But Instinct definitely looked like they had a mission after how successful they were last split, and they came up a little short. Monk doing his best to try and get a kill out of that 2v1. Got really close to taking out Don, even through the locket. Oh, Kyle with a big ult here. Ends up just taking out Don. Ashes just knocking up Avalon here, but Avo taking down Kyle. Mac trying to free fire in this back line here, but just cannot get through these tanks here. The Inferno is just, you know, prancing around here. Let's see if he can't get on top of Good Boy. Threatens the ult here, but does not take any chance of it. Arctic has ult. Oh, during the slam down, Avalon had the E. And Good Boy ends up using the Seeker's Arm Guard to dodge the tower aggro. Man, they keep throwing everything in the kitchen sink at this InstinctCK's team comp, but they're just not coming away with kills. They're doing a lot of damage. Kyle ends up getting Weaver's Walled on here. Nice sidesteps overall. Is it going to be enough, though? It will not. Mac with a perfect Captain Jack cleanse there. Ashes stunning up Arctic here. Don's ult's going to get extended off Arctic and Ashes to hit Mac. Monk getting chased down by this Scorpion. Inferno trying to wave clear as much as he can. Inferno Drake ends up getting taken by Instinct here, and the Otacon as well, as they just continue to strengthen this lead that they have on this game here. Still though, every time I feel like they're just running this game over, you look at the gold lead and it's like it's only 4,000. It's only 3.5. It's not the biggest gold lead in the world. But Femboys kind of sending it here onto this Baron. Which they might just have enough tempo to get this. This is one thing Femboys has been good at all season, is like just trading objectives and trading tempo for tempo. We've seen that in game, what was it, game 3, where they basically pushed and sent it at the Nexus and almost ended up taking that game. I mean, it's 31-14. Yes, only 4K. I mean, now it's only 2.5K. Oh, he flashed the same frame that he got hit by. The arrow, that's a feels bad. Avalon flashing forward, trying to get the ult. Ashes doing what he can here. Avalon might fall, but no, Ashes gets taken down by Good Boy. Big sleep coming out here. Did not get Good Boy, though, so hard for him to walk up in the space. And now here's Arctic. Nice sidestep by Mac here on the flash by Good Boy. And Mac's going to end up getting knocked up here from Arctic as this tower ends up falling. Inferno actually played... Oh, Lord. Okay, Arctic had to use ult there to cover Good Boy. And Eclipse trying to chop down. Kyle, though, making this push here in the top lane to get an inhib. As Inferno continues to wave clear this. Avalon, though, eating through the wall. Ends up getting slowed here from Monk. And Shutdown going over to Inferno. So they did get a little bit in return here. Top lane inhib and a couple of kills for that push bot side. Good Boy getting jumped on here. Kyle eats the Ashe ult, but Zed does get the shutdown. Zed slowly stacking up this Hubris. Only 5 champions. It's still kind of low, but every kill just keeps stacking more of that. Inferno does have Seeker's Arm Guard, so it can definitely use the next flash ult to get super deep into the Instinct team comp here. You do see Moonstone picked up from Don, so the shielding starting to come more and more online. Serpent's Fang, though, completed by Monk. Let's see, he's had it for a bit. Let's see. Alright. Already quite a bit of shielding he's negated. Oh! Kyle with a smooth pick on the Eclipse here. Avalon getting jumped on here. Mac trying to chop down this big Scorpion. Ashes flashing away from the Don's ult here. Good Boy getting jumped on from the sleep. And this could be an end here from Femboys on this game 4. And that's it. And Femboys ends up surprisingly with a big massive pick from Kyle on the Eclipse. Ends up taking game 4, and we're now at game 5. What a quick turnaround that game was. It looked like it was in Instinct's favor the whole time. But a big, massive pick here ends up changing how this game went. Now we are at Game 5 of the finals here. Wow, what a quick turnaround. Wow, what a Game 5. We want Silver Scrapes. Unfortunately, Silver Scrapes will get us copywritten, so is there a world's theme song I can find? Maybe this? Look, give me something to play that's not copyrighted, and I'll play it, guys, but I can't. Alright, and low-key, they were super quick in this draft, so let's cover what we have here. Bands look, for the most part, the same. Femboys, though, taking blue side. I'm sorry, Instinct, as they were the losers, took red side here. And Femboys end up wanting this Renekton here. Which, the fact that Renekton is left up Game 5, B1, is kind of crazy. But we see Instinct pulling out the Poppy here. It's a known flex pick. Arctic plays it. Avalon plays it. Don probably plays it as well. Good boy, though. Not afraid to just blind the mid lane here, as Ari is probably the highest rated mid laner open. And let's see. Monk? Fizz? Question mark? And he busts out the Fizz in Game 5 here. That is a ballsy move. Ari typically has no issues into the Fizz, but also Fizz and the Poppy. Most Fizz players are not really thrilled with that. Sejuani, though, is a really good pickup with 2 melee solo laners. And with that response, we have Xayah coming out. So Xayah, able to protect herself, R away. A lot of the Fizz all-in damage can R away from Renekton. It's a really solid pick here for Instinct. She's really good into champions. I love coming close and getting in her face. As we see the second ban phase going on, seems like Instinct is going to kind of pinch the 80 carry pool a little bit, get rid of the Ezreal. Femboys looking to get rid of the Xayah Rakan duo. It's Smolder getting taken away as well. And Blitz getting taken away here from Don. So let's see as these champ pools start to diminish, who's got what left over. Coming out here for the side of Instinct. And Femboys pulls the trigger on one of the bot lanes that I think they're the only ones that have played it this season. And the Zeri Yuumi. Which actually, I low-key love the Zeri Yuumi here. Don looks like going potentially the Leona here. Or we flex the Poppy in support. Let's see. And that is a Garen lock-in. So Garen versus Renekton on the top lane with Don taking the Poppy bot side here. So, this is your Game 5 draft for the LOL Sweat League Finals. Alright, people. Let me know, what draft do you like? Who do you favor here in this pivotal Game 5? This is for all the marbles. After all is said and done, 24 teams, biggest league we've had ever. After 2 years of breaking all of the previous records, we went from 14 teams to 18 teams and now 24. We got stuff like the Rec League starting off today. It's been an absolute year for the server in general, with everything going on. So, big just shout out to everybody making this happen here. Yeah, I do. What do you know? With everything going on, it's been a hell of a year. I'll take this time to thank everybody who has joined me here. I know we're not on the typical Twitch channel that we're used to, but I gotta show love for the Rec League. This did delay a week, but it's probably easily the best finals we've had in the last 3 splits. You know, the last 2 being just 3-0, where they look more like scrims. I'll come out and say it. I know Bori in the chat came out the victor on both of those. And he's had, both finals MVPs have been fantastic. But man, this series has been an absolute banger overall, and we're sitting here looking at Game 5 out of these 24 teams that have played. Both of these teams from Group A, just an insane season overall. So I do appreciate all of you guys showing us love out there. We had some ups, we had some downs, we had some different takes on the tiebreaker situation, stuff like that, but all in all, I think it was an exciting series. The playoffs has been just insane to watch. There's been very few just one-sided blowouts or anything like that. It's all just been super competitive. Every team that made the playoffs could go on a really, really big hot streak and win it all. And actually, if I think about it right now, I believe Femboys, every single series has went to max games for Femboys. They went to a best of 3 with Happy Jellyfish. Who'd they play in the first round? That's the million-dollar question. So Femboys 2-0'd Hidden Leaf, but then went to 3 games against Happy Jellyfish, and then won a banger best of 5 against Vancouver Impact, and now they're in Game 5 of the finals, to where Instinct got the first round bye 2-0, 3-0. So Instinct, this is the hardest they've been pushed all split, it feels like, and now it just comes down to a Game 5 here. So let me know in chat what team you think has the better draft, what team you want to win. Give me all the hype in the world here for this Game 5. I'm going to try and do it justice on the casting here. But let me see what you guys, who you think here.
Welcome to Summoner's Rift. Seconds until minions spawn.
Alright, boys and girls, children of all ages, here we go with Game 5. Sorry, I had just checking in on the Rec League before we get locked in here for this. So, I was going to pull somebody in to talk draft with me, but he actually started an ARAM because he thought Game 4 was an auto loss. And Femboys did what they do and bring us to this absolute hyped and exciting Game 5 here. So, and honestly, looking at Game 5, this is kind of the champions I wanted to see from both sides. Yeah, they're playing their comfort, they're playing stuff that they've practiced and been on. So, we see Monk's Fizz. We see the Zeri Yumi bot lane coming out for Mac and Ashes here. And we see Good Boy on the Ahri, which he's been absolutely great on all season. So, fingers crossed for a fantastic game here. And let's see what these teams give us here. A very exciting Game 5. So, we've seen Kyle get himself another trade. He's been absolutely massive all series into Arctic. The bot lanes here have been brawling back and forth. But Mac and Ashes, these last couple of... oh, we see a potential... Okay, I thought we were going to see a flash from Don there, but Did not want to pull the trigger. Big trade coming out of Monk here. Good Boy's Charm ends up going wide here. Getting a little bit of a... It's not a freeze bot lane, but zoning them out a little bit here from CS. Kyle and Arctic just trading back and forth. Like, you know, these big brutes do in the top lane. Kyle does have a little bit of a CS lead. Oh, Monk! Potentially making the first move here. Ends up burning the Ignite, and Good Boy survives with just a sliver of HP. We see Inferno, though, going after Good Boy. See, Kyle got the flash Q here. Kyle doesn't even need the flash. He gets first blood on Renekton here. The Monk and his fizz that he has been whining about being, you know, just super weak, all split. Makes the first move, forces Good Boy out of lane, and he rotates into Kyle's Renekton. Bot lane of Femboys is backing, so they are coming to lane. Mac, anytime he plays Zeri, it feels like he's going call first just to try and accelerate the scaling. Into another crit-based AD carry like Xayah, I fully expect that to happen, which it does. Avalon, though, looking up here at this top side as Kyle pushes this in. Ends up getting a short stun here on the Kyle, forcing the flash out of Renekton. Monk being super aggressive against Good Boy here, just always in his face anytime we pan over. A little bit of nervous warding here from the bot lane, burning both wards in that brush. Arctic getting a really solid trade here. See how close he is. Oh, and he just ends up just solo killing Kyle here. So Kyle falling here to Arctic. Arctic getting one back here on this top lane matchup. Kyle still has just a touch of a gold lead here. Actually, no, he does not. Arctic ends up getting a plate as well here. Avo starting up this dragon, though. Femboys, it just seems like they have no issues and they don't panic on giving over this first Drake here. So Cloud Drake going over. Not the worst Drake in the world. I actually think it's better for their squad. Don, though, coming here, pushing, doesn't get the stun. Gets a little bit of damage here. Mac returning it. Level 6 coming out from Monk. He tries to sneak the ult in there, as he did have Ignite up, so if that ult lands, Good Boy without flash would have to ult away. But Dark Seal coming out for both mid laners here. Monk burning the E here, but Avo's in the area. Definitely putting a lot of attention mid here. Inferno, though, jumping on Avalon here, stunning him up, ulting him, and just one-shotting him. And Inferno gets the solo kill on the Viego here. Kyle popping the ult up top. Inferno beelining that way. So let's see if this Garen ends up getting hopped on. Mac trading as well. Stun coming out from Kyle as he tanks it. And Feats of Warfare go over to Femboys here. So they're definitely making the first moves in this game 5. Mac popping ult here. Exhaust coming out on the Eclipse. Yumi ult coming out as well. Eclipse flashing the E here. Oh, and Mac trying to flash forward to get the auto attack and trade 1-for-1, but that ends up being a double kill going over to Don Don in the bot lane. So Instinct's bot lane drawing their blood, their line in the sand here. Monk's E just falling a little bit short there. So, see, BF Sword, though, coming out for Mac. That call giving him a little extra gold income here. Good boy trying to predict a lot of this. Monk preemptively flashing when Arctic had to commit to it. So flash down for Monk, but flash also down for Arctic. And I think for the first time this series, we see Instinct taking the grubs here. Normally it's just been a grubs for Dragon trade. Kyle doing really well here. Good boy flashing away here. Flash the ult in the Don Don. But Monk could not capitalize on any of that. Heartsteel completed by Inferno at 9.5, or I'm sorry, about 10 minutes here. So big pickup for him. Only about a 300 gold difference in favor of Femboys. Don Don pushing Mac out. He gets the double pop on the Q damage. Mac sidestepping the Xayah E pullback. Well played by him. Monk taking some trade back from Good Boy. Kyle fighting back against Arctic, popping the ult just to try and clear the wave. Monk queuing away here. Good boy missing the charm here. Stun coming out. Monk ends up queuing out. Inferno trying to help. He ends up getting Avalon in the process here. So a 2v1 turnaround here from the mid-jungle duo of Femboys. And Monk ends up getting himself a kill on the table here. Mac takes a turret shot here. TP coming out from Good Boy here. Don Don's going to end up falling. Eclipse popping ult here. Good Boy does not have ult. Mac trying to run away here. Oh, maybe. And Eclipse does end up taking out Mac. Arctic, though, going to get dove here in this top lane and taken out by Kyle and Inferno. So trading all over the place here, but we see Femboys are up now about 2k gold after it's all said and done here with this action. Second dragon, though, gets taken by Avalon. So 2 dragons up here. Don Don, though, hex flashing out of the brush here, trying to go after Monk. Looks like they're trying to 3-man Mac here, but Yumi back in lane here. Yumi pinging. She has both combat summoners ready to go. Mac has flash. They're ready to brawl with this. But with that roam, though, Good Boy ends up giving up a plate here to Monk. Kyle doing a really solid job freezing. Charm landing on Monk, but yet again doesn't have much to do. Inferno, though, taking a chunk out of Eclipse here. Oh, and a big freaking drift over the wall there and ulting to take down Eclipse. So, Don had a really clutch ult getting them back out of it. So just a 1 kill advantage for Femboys there in that trade. As Eclipse falls here. And Arctic potentially getting dove again. Nice 1-2 punch as Kyle waited to stun until Monk was ready for the ult. And now I think they're deciding if they can redive Avo here. I think they can, but the rest of Instinct is coming up here. Let's see how these two solo laners play this. Oh, and they just go straight on the Avalon there. Now Don's going to end up getting stunned here. Monk ends up flashing, getting the slow here. Good Boy's charm comes out, but they're going to end up taking out Good Boy here. Inferno going to fall to the turret. Shutdown going over to Good Boy here. Oh, he was looking for Kyle. But Kyle will probably end up getting... Oh, no! Kyle's going to end up falling to Eclipse there. But Ashes and Mac end up taking this bot lane turret. And that's feats of strength going over to Femboys here. And I actually think this is the first time they got feat. No, they had feats in game 2. But Instinct now jumping onto this Rift Herald here. This ends up being almost a 6k gold lead for the side of Femboys here. And overall, Monk first going the Storm Surge into Seekers. So this Fizz is massive. No bone plating on the Ahri. I know chat was talking about it. Mid lane turret falls. Don ends up clicking on the Rift Herald during the charge here. Redemption comes out from Yuumi. Bot lane gets knocked away from Don here. Kyle gets stunned up. Monk coming in the side here. Eclipse, though, ults it. Monk still gets the kill on the Don. Kyle gets the return on Arctic here. And Monk still just chipping away at this fight. Eclipse will end up falling as now Ashes and Mac have rejoined this fight. And Femboy's looking at this dragon. Oh! Good Boy tried to charm and start the TP, but Ashes actually came out and tanked that charm. I still think Good Boy probably falls there, but it's definitely a lot closer. And that early Seekers by Monk Mentality came in super, super clutch in that fight here. And Inferno ends up winning the Smite fight here. Kyle smacking this bot lane tier 2. Everything looks to be going in Femboys' way. Inferno going after Good Boy here. Did super well dodging a lot of his damage in the queue. Don walking into a potential trap, but ends up getting out of it. Inferno just trying to take this ward right in Instinct's face here. Monk looks like he's trying to lay a trap here. Oh! What a flash! Expecting Good Boy to ult away here. Well played by Monk. That's why you don't give him Fizz. Otacon on the map. Inferno going after Avalon just right there in Arctic's face. Eclipse trying to battle back here on 2 items, so this Xayah can put out a considerable amount of damage. Binky ends up getting the turret bot side here. Arctic, though, getting jumped on by Inferno. They're converging on the Inferno and Kyle here. Don misses the ult here. Avalon, though, ults out. Now Don left by himself. See if they can't get the other auto. They do. Inferno ends up stunning him, and Kyle gets one back here. We have full Magi's and a start of a death cap coming out of Monk's Fizz here. Arctic done with his items, but everybody else is on 2. We see a Ghost Blade coming out of Kyle, so he's wanting to one-shot somebody here. Instinct's only hope, I feel like, is just end Eclipse. Just try and be as much frontline as you can for this AD carry here. It's now an 11,000 gold lead, which is the biggest gold lead we've had of the finals. Don just not able to walk into any alcove or any type of pocket to get vision here. Inferno just does not give any shits here. Avalon gets ulted by Inferno, but buffers his ult. Max on a killing spree now, trying to go after. Arctic gets exhausted here. Mac, though, just sitting here sidestepping as much as he can. Eclipse, though, flashing. Here comes the pullback. Inferno dodges the pullback here and ends up getting a double kill. And is this a potential end angle? Ult goes wide here. Ari dives in, ends up falling. And that ends up being an ace here. And in 23 minutes in Game 5, Femboys take down the juggernauts of InstinctCK. Group A superiority. Instinct takes down coin flip. And then Femboys at full strength. Both teams, we waited a week for all of this, end up beating InstinctCK in an absolute banger of a 5-game series in our Sweat League finals here. What a series. What a series. Let me try and see if I can get some interviews here with our champs. Let me see. It looks like we will have an interview. Just trying to iron out who it's going to be.
Yo.
What is up, Mr. Monk?
Yeah, no one else on my team wants to do an interview. They're all like, they're done.
That's
They're
fair.
trying to sit in there and like listen to me and make fun of me in like DMs. But,
I get that. I get that. Man, what a series, man. I thought you were done with BO5s.
dude, I'm so terrible at Jace.
We're just skipping to that one, aren't we?
Bro, that's the only thing I've been thinking about for like the last 20 minutes. Oh.
Oh,
It was
man.
it was a fun BO5. Yeah.
Oh man. What a okay, so the first 2 games I don't want to say like went as expected, but like when the teams got leads, we seen it. It wasn't like that big of a surprise. I know they kind of counterpicked, or you kind of counterpicked, and it didn't feel great. The Zera side of it, and then they tried to counterpick you, and you got one back on the Akali. But then the Jace game, I know
We don't
you.
talk about it.
No, we're going to talk about it on one aspect. What were the calls like with you guys trying to end that game? Because that was, man.
Oh, you're talking about like when we try to like end and like broke Nexus towers?
Yeah. What were the
Uh,
calls? What was like? Take me
My
through that.
top laner was like Mountain Dragon is useless, go mid, and we're like, okay, Mr. Top Laner, because we were all like kind of inting besides him.
And you guys just decided to full send it?
Yeah, I got picked before that entire like thing,
That's true. That's true.
but yeah, I mean that would have felt really good if we got a win when like half of us just like giga int, but
Well, then it must have felt really good then Game 4 when when he got that pick onto Ashe, and you guys just kind of ran it down mid there.
oh yeah, I'm looking at the KDAs for that game 4. Yeah, us winning that game is illegal.
It was something. I mean, good
Ash
boy.
is 1 in 13, my goat.
I mean, when you're Nico, you're just throwing yourself in there. So he played that role quite well, and he kept getting picked off. Also, can we
I don't know
talk?
if you can say that he bought 2 Oblivion orbs.
We were about to talk about the double Oblivion orbs here. I don't want to put our boy on blast here, but
I think it's learning disability, but he's a good guy.
I mean, look, he missed tonight's Rec League game to play for you guys in the finals, so you had to reward him with a dub.
That is true. That is true.
So, but I mean, Zed versus Talia looked like you had your hands full with good boys Talia there.
Yeah. I would assume that the camera probably panned on it when I tried to go for the like level 2 solo kill.
Yes, it did.
My auto didn't go off and he leveled up, so it just and I got really tilted and just kind of like started like running it down. But
You got one back.
yeah, I ended up getting back into the game item wise, but I mean that game was just my top laner hitting that ulti on Ashe.
Yeah. Which, speaking of the top laner, I know we've got we got somebody in the chat. What about your top laners like play this whole series? Because it felt like every time we panned up there, he just had everything going his way. Trades, lane states, everything. He just played really well.
Yeah, he's really good in lane. He just gets really cranky, but we love him. No, I mean Noah. He played well like every game. Even like the games where he was behind, like the Gwen game when he got solo killed twice, he ended up coming back and like almost 1v9ing the entire game. But yeah, props to my top laner. But I think Inferno, my jungler, was the real carry through all 5 of these games.
Inferno had himself an absolute hell of a playoffs. I will say.
Yeah,
I'm a fan.
that's finals MVP Inferno right there.
I would tend to agree. I would go that way. I thought he stopped most of the push bot lane game 4. I thought was really key, and then he used all of the early kills he would get, especially in game 5. It felt like he just capitalized on all of those, got gold, never really inted the shopkeeper, and just used that.
He's broken.
I mean, when you have two solo laner melees, I mean, it's kind of not hard to play that game.
Yeah.
But
Sejuani Fizz combos 2-0. That's all I'm gonna say.
yeah, it is. Was Fizz always gonna be the play there? You just stamped fuck it, and you're like, I'm playing.
Yeah, because I mean, if you look at our wins and losses this entire playoffs, you'll see that all of our losses is when I play a champion I don't play, and all of our wins are champions I do play. So I was either gonna ego lock in Fizz or Diana, but then good boy, he showed Ari, and I was like, oh, let me go Fizz. And plus, like a game 5 Fizz sounds hilarious.
It was something. And again, that fits your playstyle, man. You might have been the most aggressive Fizz I've ever sat back and watched.
Like you kind of have to. That champion's like very useless if you don't get a lead.
Yeah. So, well, I do appreciate the interview, man. What a hell of a run through the playoffs. You absolutely did nothing but bitch about BO5s, and yet you went the full distance against Happy Jellyfish, Vancouver Impact, and now Instinct. You've played 18 games the last 3 weeks in this league. And you might have had... Go ahead.
If you look at my match history, I only played 18 games throughout that entire thing.
Yeah,
well, actually, no, it's a lie. I played 2 arena games. Shout out arena.
Yeah, but wait, did you... I think out of what, like 18 games, you had to have had 10 or 12 different champions, unique champions that you played?
I think every series I played Fizz and Diana. Actually, I didn't play Diana this series.
No, you didn't.
Yeah, maybe.
I mean, we can look through it here, Fizz.
I had a couple of Akali. I know against Jellyfish, Rirka took the Akali, but yeah, I had the Azir game. Shout out. I had a Syndra game. Trying to think.
You had 3 Akali games. That was the only repeat I'm seeing.
Did I not have 2 Fizz games? Yeah, no, I had Fizz game against Happy Jellyfish.
Oh, okay.
And this one. But yeah, I think those were my 2 only repeats.
Yeah, so champ pool. Yeah, okay. I don't want to hear it.
Yeah, I have a champ ocean.
Yeah. I don't want to hear that, but I don't want to hear I don't play any champs either.
I have a champ ocean. Well, I mean, the champions I don't quote unquote play, like as you can see, 1-7, 1-4, the 0-6 Azir game. Like I think my statement's still true, but like I'm just like I have to attempt on these other champions.
That's fair. Well, I appreciate the interview, my friend, and I appreciate you guys taking it to Game 5. The Game 3 Nexus rush and the Game 4 throw. Here, I'm going to call him out because I haven't flamed him yet today, and it's always once a day with Rurika. I literally said, hey, if
He's
we
not even
could.
playing, man.
Yeah, he always catches strays from me. He knows it. But I said, hey, if this goes to game 5, you're coming in and talking draft. In the middle of game 4, he starts up an A-Ram because he thought you guys lost. So, shout out Rurika there.
He swapped sides many times. He said 3-0 us, like 1-3 instinct, and then now if you look in Sweat League chat, he's trying to come back to our side.
It's all good. I mean, nothing but love for Rurika. I really do. But, man, he's always going to catch some strays from me, so. But
yeah, shout out Instinct, by the way. Those players, you got to rank check some of them. I don't know how that team's like legal. They all 5 of them are good players. Like that has to be like illegal. But
I
I
mean,
mean, GG's to them. I'm joking, by the way. This is not like me like trying to throw like allegations. But yeah, I mean, Good Boy like kind of outside that fifth game, like even the Akali game, I think he like kind of beat me in lane like all 4 of those games.
yeah, he's no joke,
Good
bro.
Boy's really good. He's really good.
Yeah. So.
Then Don always appearing in my lane every 3 minutes. But yeah, GG's. I'm gonna go back to my team. So
Alrighty, my
I will
friend.
catch you later.
I will let you go, but we will get with you and your team about what skins you want. I know. I think Hairway.
Give Inferno Finals MVP. He deserves it.
We will definitely touch on that, but I think he's going to get my vote. So maybe we'll throw a poll up. I don't know. We'll see how we want to do that. But yeah, no, much appreciated. Hope to see you guys, next split, and see you chatting in the chat when you're rooting on your boy Ashes here in the rec league that started off this week. So
Boys may come back, they may not. We will see next split.
well, either way, man, it's been much love. I know we've talked in and out of here about some champs and some gameplay stuff, and always respected your advice. So yeah, we'll keep in touch. But man, what a hell of a playoffs for you guys, man. Congrats.
Thank you. All right, I'm heading out now.
All right, my friend. Deuces.
All right, GG's.
And that was Monk Mentality, aka Binky, from Femboys, winning Game 5 here in the Sweat League Finals. So, congrats to Instinct for an absolute hell of a series. Congrats to Femboys for a hell of a playoff run, and I'm glad the finals went this way. It was absolute fun, and clearly my dog's happy with the new toy. So, but we'll definitely see you guys around with the rec league starting up. They will be taking a little bit of a break next week for the 4th of July, but I might hold some type of in-house or something on Fridays. It seemed like everybody loved the arena in-house that I did during the off-season here, so might throw up a poll in the chat or in the server, see if they want to organize that again. But overall, much love to everybody that came up, showed out. I loved you guys in the chat, keeping this interesting. And, until next time, my friends.